All right. So this is the February meeting of the SPJ Freelance Community Board. We've got six members in attendance. I'm going to share my screen and pull up the agenda. And I guess let me know, you guys can see that, right?
Yes.
I hope, okay. Feel free to unmute yourselves unless you have like a barking dog there. Like that's totally fine to keep yourselves unmuted so we don't have the delay. I'm going to move Hazel. Oh, I can't do this, can I? Never mind. I can't make changes to this without it being weird. Okay, I'm not going to change anything to this. Okay, so we talked about I don't have everybody's title up there because I don't know what it is yet. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'll let you know as soon as I hear back from Hillary. So we'll figure that out shortly, hopefully in the next week or so. For the upcoming meeting dates, I actually put the times in this time. They're meant to all be at 6 o'clock, but I already know that March 4th, I can't do it until 6:30. So if that doesn't bother anybody, I would rather move it now than move it on the day of like I did today. If that's okay.
Works for me.
Okay, excellent. And so the rest of them will be 6. We may adjust those as we go. Like if 3 people can't come to a meeting and it's something crucial that we really need, we might move it to 7 or 7:30. We can kind of do that. So if there's a time, a couple of you emailed me and said, "Oh, I'm not sure I can make the meeting," or "I'm not sure I can stay that long." That's super helpful to know because if 5 people did that, I would just be like, "Okay, let's reschedule this. Let's try for Thursday or Saturday morning or something." So where we can get more people. So I don't want to just cancel it, but if we don't have enough people, I think 6 is good. Like we're good with the number we have right now, but this is kind of a small meeting. So just let me know ahead of time. And again, I'll try not to do that to you again, where I'm changing the time by a half hour that late in the game. And I appreciate you guys being okay with that and showing up. I'm going to jump right into membership. Sergi, the last update she gave us for January was 513 members, and our highest within the last 14 months or so, 12 months, I guess. Wow, my math skills are impressive. 541 members. So are we now at 542, Sergi, or what?
Trying to unmute. Right now, I didn't realize that I gave you guys the January numbers. No, well, that was in December was
Oh, that way, the
513.
513 might have been December. That was the last update. It's just you gave it to us, or you mentioned it in January again. I don't think you did the
Yeah,
January.
so January it's 504. It went down 9 members. And yes, the highest was in March of last year, which was 541. I am not able to upload the membership rosters. I'm getting a message saying denied permission because I forgot to mention it last time because I was trying to organize just all the folders and different freelance rosters. So if anyone could give me the permission to upload stuff and kind of move stuff around, that'd be great. But as of now, I'm not able to upload the rosters up
Wait,
to the
why
Google
can't you
Drive.
upload them?
I'm getting an error message saying I don't have permission or something. And I
From
forgot to
where though?
mention it last time too, because
Who's giving you the error message?
um when I'm in Google Drive.
Oh,
So when I'm in Google Drive, if I try to upload or add a file, I'm getting denied permission, I think. So
so for anything you're trying to access in the shared Google Drive?
yes,
What?
at least in the membership folder. I haven't really,
Weird. Okay.
dug
Okay.
around and go.
Let me go play around with that when we get done and I'll figure that out.
Mm, okay,
Can you see, can you access your email right now?
I can.
Can you see, I just sent you a link to the agenda, which is in that Google Drive. Oh, it might not be. That's probably not, that's not saved in the shared file though, I just gave you access automatically by adding your email. So never mind. Okay. I'll,
Okay,
I'll
okay.
look into the membership folder and just see if there's any weird thing.
Maybe I gotta log out. Sometimes you just gotta log out. How they say, turn off your computer and turn it back on.
I
Maybe
know, and
that'll
it
work.
solves everything. Exactly. Seriously.
So I did not. So I did not do that. I must admit, I did not just log out, log in.
Okay.
But as of now, as of last month, I remember, and I just forgot to mention it during the meeting. And when I went in today again, I was like, oh my God, it's the same thing. So,
Okay.
so yeah, I do not have February's numbers as of yet, but as soon as I get them, I will upload them. I emailed her earlier today, so I'm sure she'll get back to me really soon, Crystal.
Okay.
For February's numbers. So we're down 9 from December's numbers. So I'm looking at January's numbers. January's numbers, we're 504 down from 9. So in December we were 513. So
Okay.
I don't know what February numbers are, and as soon as I get them, I'll upload them. And I'll let you know if I get an issue again. But
Yeah,
I'm
and
not
I
able
still think, and
to upload.
I think this is more of just a ballpark, because I think we're probably somewhere between 500 and 550 is my guess,
Right,
because
right.
I was on the roster in December and I'm not anymore.
Okay,
So,
okay.
and I wasn't in November, so I keep bouncing on and off it, and I don't know why.
Uh-huh.
So, um, anyway, so
And I plan to have a conversation with Crystal, because it seems like what we're showing as not being members is not necessarily so. This is a conversation I need to have with Crystal, how I need to approach that, because you we send out those email reminders, hey, can you sign up again, renew again, and then
yeah,
it turns out
yeah,
that they actually are members back and forth. So this is a conversation that I need to have with Crystal, to kind of figure out what's the best practices for that, because it's
yeah,
just kind of it's I could tell it's probably annoying for her if stuff is already there, and But anyway, so yeah, that's a
yeah.
conversation that I have to Crystal. Hopefully, I will have it prior to the next meeting, so I can see an
Okay.
update with that. But yeah, I'll try to log in again tomorrow, and if not, I'll send you an email. And I need to respond to that email that Hazel asked. She asked whether I think Hillary's going to start taking over the data analysis for the freelance process, which would be great, because Hazel used to do a deep dive into, terms of just who was what, percentages, and that sort of a thing, which I'm not good with. So I think Hillary's going to take that over. I just need to respond to the email and say that's definitely cool. Please do so, since Hazel is going to step back. But that's all I have on
Yeah.
my end,
Okay.
and we'll continue work on that.
Great. Okay, that sounds good. Um, for the freelance community email, Ginny is checking for February, and we didn't talk about this, Ginny, but I got at 11 o'clock last night. This is how late Ginny works. So at 11:15 or so last night, I got someone's trying to access your Google account or whatever, and I'm like, what? And I looked at it, I was like, what the heck? And I'm listening to my audiobook, trying not to fall asleep in my bed. And then it dings again. And I'm like, that GD kid, I'm like, if she is on her phone, I am going to I was so mad. I was like, she better not be trying. So I'm mad at my kid. I'm mad at Kala. She's downstairs. I don't want to get up and go downstairs and get her. But I'm like, so I get on the phone and I'm trying to check. I text her. She doesn't text me back and she doesn't read it. So I'm like, okay, maybe she's not on her phone. I'm like, I don't know. Anyway, then I see an email from Ginny that says, I'm trying to get into the Google Drive. I'm like, oh, it's not my kid. Okay. So Ginny, you almost got my daughter in big trouble last night. Ginny and I have the same last 2 digits of our phone number. And she was clicking on to send the number to that last, it just gives you the last 2 digits of the number. And she clicked on that thinking it was hers, but it was mine, and hers has not been added. So we just figured that out. So I've got to add her number to the freelance community email. So if anybody else, James, you'll need your phone number added. And Alex, if you do this later in the year, you'll need your phone number added. Probably should add them all at the same time. Although Ginny, it's always going to be like you're going to have to you'll just have to send it to both of the 2 zeros. Once I put yours in, I think it just gives you the last 2 digits. Is that right, Ginny? Just the last 2 digits, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I did try to log in right before this too, and it was saying to log in from like an iPad or something. But yeah, I'll just try. I don't know if, I'll be able to tell by the order. Like, I think you're first in the list.
Okay. Well, if I get it again, I'll know what it's coming from. Or if you text me, just say, hey, I'm trying to log in. It must have gone to you. And I'll just send you the code too. I can do that. I wouldn't have known I didn't know to send it to you last night. I would have sent it to you last night. I just didn't know it was you. Like I said, I was mad at my kid. Um, so, I'm going to have to add James's number and Alex, if Alex is going to do this later in the year. So really what it is, James and Alex, is we have a freelance community email. That's that SPJ freelance community at gmail.com. Sometimes it gets busy in there, but very rarely. Like it's really just like an email a week. And we just want someone to sort of monitor it because it's easy to forget or think other people are doing it. And then like, maybe it's on the secretary or on me, and then we don't do it for a month and we're like, oh shoot, we forgot all about it. So we're finding it easier just to assign it to one person. So I had January, it was pretty dead in there in January, but we had a couple emails. And then it'll probably ramp up a little bit more as we get closer to the conference. So just know that if you're going to volunteer for a month closer to the conference, it might get a little bit busier. I don't know that for sure, actually, but, and we just need to, respond to those emails. If you don't know how to respond to it, just like shoot it to me or somebody and ask, how should you respond? So anyway, I'll get you hooked up, Ginny. You sent me your number. I haven't done that yet. I will do that today though. And then James, if you can give me your phone number, you don't have to do it right here publicly because we're being recorded, but if you can just email, and Alex, if you can email me the cell phone that you would want to use as as if you had to get a code, a passcode to get in somewhere. So, okay. So I'm not going to go past June. That's plenty. We don't need to waste time on that right now. We've got it set up for the next few months, so we're all set. I wanted to spend some time on this. This is, hold on, let me check the chat. Okay. So this is the Nicole, James, Alex, and I had a meeting last week about our social media presence. We've been talking about this at our last meeting. We talked about, does anybody want to talk about this? And we should do this separately. And for those of you who wanted to, that's who met. So it was the four of us who met. I thought it was super productive. I was walked away super excited about it. I'm just going to kind of recap a little bit about what we talked about. And the proposal that we had is to form a social media committee within our community to strengthen our online presence, engage our audience more effectively, and maintain consistent high quality content across platforms. So I'm going to explain it first and then put it to a vote. I don't want to say that we're going to form this committee without everybody agreeing that we should have a committee for this. So there's the four of us. If somebody else wants to be very active in this, we definitely want people who are active and kind of run with this. So if you have the bandwidth or the energy to do it, you're more than welcome to join the committee. It's not going to be limited to just a few people. So some of the questions that we came up with when we first started talking was how do we want to use and leverage our platforms? Should we use it as a recruiting tool for SPJ or the FC, both, just the FC? How should we be using it? Should it serve as an advocacy and information source? Are people coming to us for those reasons? Should we be advocating for freelancers? Are they looking for information for freelancers? Should it be an exclusive group just for SPJ freelancers? Should we only let people in who are members of SPJ? That's a massive loss of viewership if we do that, but it's a thought. We just threw it out there. And also I think James I think it was James, correct me if I'm wrong, it could have been Alex, but James, I think, had the idea. So let's put out a survey and ask, what do we want to see on this platform, and do it on all of them. What do we want to see on X? What do you want to see? Not we. What do you want to see on X? Hey, note to freelancers. What do you want to see here? And then on Facebook, what do you want to see this? What do you use this platform for? What do you want from this platform? Because I think we need a little bit more. It's been going fine. We've been doing it. It's good, but we could really beef up. And this is something that Nicole said, beef up our social media presence. And I really liked that when she said that. So we could beef up our social media presence by just doing we wouldn't have to do that much more work, but it does take some intention. And I think that is not a bad way to go. I kind of like that idea. We're getting a little bit less and less from, let's say the national conventions. I don't want to say less and less, but less engagement, maybe not as many people as we want. How can we leverage what we already have and support freelancers around the country? So that's kind of the idea. So we want to talk about ideas to strengthen our social media presence, and then so that's I'll stop there for a second and just see what people's thoughts are on this. I think we have a quorum, so we're okay to vote. Hold on, let me just make sure. We do have a quorum, so we'd be okay to vote. So I'm going to propose that. I propose that we form a social media committee. I just need someone to second it if you agree, and then we'll vote.
I second.
Okay. And if you, I guess maybe raise your hands. Oh, we can't say, well, say yay. I'm going to go to each one of you. So what say you, James?
I say yes. Well, yay.
Good. Okay. I love it. Yay. Nicole?
Yes, but I would maybe ask them to social media.
Oh, I can't hear you that well. What'd you say?
Can you hear me now?
You're cutting out a little bit.
I'll type it then.
Oh, you're okay. Try it again. I can hear you.
Okay. I say yes, but I would ask that we amend to make it not just the social media committee, but maybe like marketing and engagement or something like that. That way the scope of the committee could be a little bit more broad and include marketing things.
I like that. Yeah. Yep. I'm going to just put this in there for now, and marketing. So social media and marketing. So it's funny, Nicole, what you sent me earlier, I had already done this little part, here's my proposal, here's what it is. And then you sent me that later. I was like, okay, we're on the same page here. But yes, yours had marketing in it too. So, okay, good. And what do you think, Alex?
A second, and I like Nicole's suggestion.
Excellent. Ginny?
Yes.
Okay. And Sergi?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. I'm just going to say unanimous vote yes to form this committee. And I'm trying to make it a little bit formal because I want it to be something that we take seriously, but actually put the work into, right? We wanna be accountable. The people on this committee, you can hold us accountable. Like if you're not on the committee, hey, what's going on with that? And I'd like to be able to report back to you with what we have done and what we're doing, and bring it to these meetings every month to get your feedback on this. And anytime you want to add some, if you're not on the committee, please do add it. But I think to have sort of a focused effort on this would be great. There's lots of different things I think that we could do. Ideas to strengthen our social media presence. Some of the stuff that we talked about that Nicole, Alex, James, and I talked about was cross-posting everything. And then what about sharing links to articles? We don't do that very much, but can we have some system of where we share links to articles that will help freelancers, help them get work or help them learn how to pitch better, anything like that? It doesn't have to be stuff that we create necessarily. I also think we should be promoting our webinars frequently and often on all of our socials. Nicole talked about, was it you, Nicole, talked about having Instagram, or was that Alex? Somebody said that one was you, Nicole. Okay. Because we don't have an Instagram. And we also talked about Sergi and Jenny, just so you know what we talked about with X. We have some ethical concerns with X for sure. But we also talked about if we have 7,000 followers on X. So if we lose that, we lose a lot of we lose all those people. If we kind of take a stand against it, but there's still editors posting jobs on X. There's still editors posting good jobs on X, good freelance jobs. And also, James brought up the topic that they stalk the Ohio governor on X and use it that way. And that is great. We need to know what anybody who doesn't agree with us or disagree with us, we need to know what they're doing. So we talked it through and thought, and Alex talked about it transcending more than, or maybe Nicole, I have my notes somewhere, you guys, and I did write who said what, but it's so big, it transcends one person. It's not just Elon Musk, right? It's bigger than that. And we don't have to agree with that to still help, I don't want to say help, but advocate for and to send out useful tools and tips to the 7,000 people who follow us on there. So I do think that we should stay. That's something we probably need to talk about throughout the year. If anybody else disagrees with that right now, I'd love to have that conversation. We had it the other day, but if Ginny or Sergi, if you have any thoughts on this, on what you think about our presence on X.
I would probably keep it and just kind of run it similarly to how Susan has in the past, and then monitor that, I guess. But I mean, like you said, we already have a strong following there, so I don't think I just shut it down abruptly, but maybe just keep it similar to how we had it and see how it goes moving forward.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. I think it sounds like we might all have those similar feelings about it. Sergi, are you of that mindset as well?
Yeah, I think I think X is relevant. And I think as long as we're able to voice our opinions either way, I think there's no reason for us to leave.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I think it's good as long as there continues to be free speech, including our speech, then it should be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. And we've got a Blue Sky. We're doing Blue Sky. We've got, are we doing Threads? We haven't, or did we decide on that? I guess we didn't really decide on that yet, but I think trying to get out there, as much as we can, that leads into the next point of what we're talking about. This is a future goal and future maybe conversation that we won't necessarily be able to get into too much tonight, but I floated this idea about, I don't know, 2 years ago or so, just said why we just need to have our own website. And it was sort of just we didn't have the manpower to do it. We couldn't do it. We're like, who's going to run it? And then we've all sort of talked about it. And then Nicole brought it up at our meeting last week and sort of reignited that. And she gave a very good, this is what we should do. This is how we should do it. And this is why we should do it. And I commend her for, as the first step out the gate of the publicity coordinator, her wanting to do this. I don't know if we've got the manpower yet to do that, but we had talked about all the stuff that we create, the On Your Own guide, the databases, all of that stuff we put on our own website, our own freelance community website, and run it. So does anybody have experience running their own website besides Nicole and I? Does anybody else there running their own website? Alex is? Okay. You do? Okay, awesome.
So before I moved my blog to Substack, I was on Wix. I also have a portfolio website that I run on Wix. And then during the election, I created and coded and maintained an entire like election website for election 2024 and created all the stats and graphs and things for that. So it's not like high tech website stuff,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
there's some I have some of those skills.
Okay. And I know, and Nicole, you do, right? From the, yep. Okay. And I'm the digital editor of my TV show. So I do that every week and I'm updating that. Did I update it last night? Yes, I did. I update it every Sunday. I write in 2 new articles each week for it. And we add videos. We've got a podcast that we have on there too. Like we've got all sorts of media on there. So embedding video I can do. I don't do that a lot. We have another team who we sort of leave that in their hands because it's a lot. And I would rather have them do it than me, but I can do it. I know how to do it. So I think we could do a lot with this. And I know we're being recorded, but I'm going to say it anyway, but just, who knows? You never know how long an organization is going to last. And we'd like to have an existence if, the worst case scenario happened with SPJ, right? We love SPJ, but, I think having our own identity, still being part of SPJ, but having our own identity just in case anything happens, we still exist. Our community can still exist. That's what I think we're hoping for. So that's going to be a big conversation. I shouldn't say big, it's gonna be an ongoing conversation. And I want, other people on the board when they rejoin us, to kind of weigh in on this as well, to see what your thoughts are. I do think it's work. It's a lot more work than, and we're all seem to be overloaded, but I was thinking about this today and I feel like there's a difference between doing, I don't want to call it busy work, but like work that you don't really see, like when you put out the newsletter, like you can see how many people get clicks, but you don't know how many people are getting jobs from the newsletter. You don't know how many people you're really helping. And sometimes I feel like it can be hard to keep doing that, or like it's not as motivating, right? If you don't even really know who you're reaching or how many people you're reaching, which is why I think James was talking about doing the survey. Who's using this? What do you get out of this? What do you want more of? And when we can move with intention, when we can serve with intention, use our platform to, this is what people want. This is how we want to be viewed in this, as in the freelance journalism community. I think it's more motivating to do it. It feels less like work. I don't know how to say it better than that. Just, I feel like I'm really excited about working on a website. I've got so much stuff to do. Like I'm up till like midnight every night. I would like to do this. I'd like to put the time into this. So I think, and I feel the same way after talking to James, Alex, and Nicole. I feel that those 3 also have a desire and a passion to do this. And I know for sure that 4 people working on this would be absolutely doable. And anybody else who wants to work on it too, I think we can do it. So I'm just going to throw that out there because I think that it could be viewed as like, wow, we can't take on anything else. We're doing too much already. But I don't know. I feel like we know how many people are visiting our website. We have those kind of numbers. It isn't relying on who's coming to SPJ's website and trying to find us at the very bottom of the homepage. I don't know if you've ever tried to find us on there. It's very difficult to find us. So Sergi and Ginny, do you have any thoughts on that? We after this meeting, I know what the 4 of us have talked about, but what are your thoughts?
It's Jenny, it's not a bad idea. I think it's a good idea to do it. Would we also have a presence on the national site though? I don't necessarily know that we should take that away altogether.
Say it again.
Would we also have a presence on the national website? I'm not sure we should
Oh,
take that
yeah.
away altogether.
Yep, absolutely. Nothing would change on there. we would still exist. We would be on there, no problem. It's just having, it's just giving us our sort of a separate identity also, you know, not even really an identity. It's just, it's also going to be easier to find. Nicole said, when you search for us, we don't even come up on the first page when you search for the SPJ freelance community, in a Google search. And that needs to change. We know that needs to change. So how actually Nicole just said we don't even come up. So how can we do that? I don't think that I know we're being recorded. I'm not a huge fan of the SPJ website. I don't love, it doesn't feel like 2025 to me, but also it's really hard to find. If I'm a freelance journalist, and I don't know anything about the freelance community, it's very difficult to find the freelance community on the homepage. It's at the bottom of the page, right? So, but yes, Jenny, to answer your question, of course, yes, we would not take away anything from what we do within SPJ. Sergi, what are your thoughts on it?
I think we absolutely need a website. I mean, individual chapters have their websites. There's no reason
Right.
why we have, I mean, I have, you know, SPJ Louisiana website, and we have nowhere near the amount of people. I mean, they exist, but in terms of just signed on members, there's nowhere near the fact that we have one of the largest groups. Absolutely. And that's
Yeah.
it's interesting that we never had one before. You know, something, you know, sometimes things that are so basic, you don't kind of think about it, kind of comes under the radar. But yeah, it is kind of hard to find it. It's not, we're not given, you know, major billing on the website,
Right.
on SPJ's national. But I think we should have our own website. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And Jenny, does Cincinnati have their own website?
I think Jenny left.
Jenny's still here.
Oh,
I'm asking her to unmute.
I'm
There you
still here, and yes, we do have our own site.
go. Who runs it?
Me,
Oh, you did not pipe
Yeah.
up when I asked who runs their own website. Okay, Jenny.
I
All
do
right.
too, but Stacy, but it's so rudimentary. I feel bad even mentioning it. And we had another board member that kind of took it over, but I basically do all the posting. It's basically WordPress.
Yeah.
I know very little HTML coding, very little, but it's there. I mean, SPJ Florida has a great website. There is no reason why we shouldn't have our website. at
Yeah,
all.
I think these days it's so easy to build these, and they can look amazing, with not even really knowing much about HTML. I think I update our site every day, and I
Lots of
don't use anything.
templates, right?
Yeah, exactly. I
Right.
don't use any of that. So James has their hand raised. James.
Yeah, sorry if you saw my crazy facial reactions there. I got the wildest news notification. But I think this is all really good conversation, but we also need to have conversation around like next steps. Like what do we want to do after this meeting? How do we want to move forward? What is the first step that we want to take? Just so like you said, it's not all like we can just so like you said, we're actually like meeting goals and like producing things. So yeah, and I know like one person, I think it was Nicole, who said that they had a contact about like websites and whatnot. So it's like maybe we contact that contact. So yeah.
Yeah,
I think
I agree with that.
maybe
And
we
it'd be a
also
good
check
way
with
also.
the-
I think Ruth was saying something. I'm sorry, go ahead, Ruth.
I think maybe we also check with our community membership, because there might be somebody in the group who does websites. WordPress is very easy. It's not what's considered a real website program, but it's very effective. It can look really good. It's easy to use.
Yeah.
But we might have somebody within the community who specializes in creating websites. Or we could ask Florida who created theirs. They might be willing to help.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that we want to try, I think we should try because there's four of us, actually six of us at least, who already have done websites that I think that we can probably between us come up with something great. And then if we need help, we can talk to maybe Koretsky from Florida or maybe ask for volunteer help. I think Solomon too would be great in this realm. Um, I think it'd be great. He knows what he's doing in this too. And I think we all probably have strengths in different parts of it, different parts of, I think Nicole might be our SEO expert, right? Nicole,
Gee, I
are you?
wonder who would proofread and edit it.
Exactly. So we'd all be able to do this. So I think it would be great. Ruth, just to catch you up, we talked about forming a freelance community social media committee. We all voted a unanimous yes on this. We really want to increase our social media presence and leverage our
Yeah.
platforms. James, to answer your question, I think that we, as the social media committee, need to schedule a meeting like within the next probably 2 weeks. We met last week. I think we should do it again, like in the next 2 weeks. And in that meeting, we should talk about the steps. What are the next steps? Like, let's get this off the ground. Now that we have the board approval, we can get this off the ground and get running with it. And that we can, that's separate from the website, but it sort of is part of that as well. But we will talk more about the website too, I think, certainly in our next meeting, but we can talk about it in our social media committee meeting also on how to get the ball rolling on that. So I'm excited. I'm super excited about this. Actually, when I got off that meeting with y'all last week, like I just was like, I went down a rabbit hole of research. I was just having a great time with it. I was like, this is what I want to do, So I don't know. I was really chuffed. I'm super excited about it. So hopefully that we can keep that ball going, the ball rolling. For the webinars that we have, obviously we didn't do it in January. We probably will not do one in February. That's totally fine. If there's somebody who wants to volunteer to do one in March, I'm going to do one in May. Ruth has mentioned doing one in April. I just put the topics that I would be interested in coordinating. Obviously, I'm not the expert on these. It's just for me to be the moderator and finding the experts. Those are the two that I think I'm most interested in that we have in our list. You don't have to have one from the list, but if anybody is interested in doing a March one, please let me know so we can get that going. We want to try to offer a few of these this year. So I think April and May we've got covered, but if we can get somebody March, June, or March and July, June and August, something like that, I think that would be good.
I put that I would like to do one in March, about the topic that I know I texted you about, Stacy, but about how to handle being doxxed as a freelancer.
I'm sorry, how to handle what?
Being doxxed.
Not coming up.
How to handle being doxxed as a freelancer? Oh, really quickly, adding on to that. Think I mentioned this during the social media meeting, but kind of right in line with what the idea of the doxing thing. I was just at a legal firm's webinar about legal resources for freelancers, and maybe I didn't read it carefully enough, but the way it was framed sure seemed like it was going to be at least partially like a list of strategies for helping us not need the legal trouble in the first place. And they kind of said, oh, well, yeah, that's not really what we're for. So maybe I should have known better, but I'm really craving that. And I do editorial cartoons, and there's ad hominem stuff just inherently in there, regardless of whether I try to add it or not. So I've been particularly concerned about how to keep myself secure in the coming 4 years. So I would love to, do a roundtable discussion of that. I think bringing in experts for half of the thing and then having a roundtable therapy session afterwards would be really cool. But I'm eager to hear what other people's thoughts are.
I love that idea. I think that's great. Alex, do we want to put that up there? Do we want to talk about, do you want to volunteer for that one?
Sure. I would want to frame myself carefully. Like I have certainly a lot of opinions, but I'm not sure I'm an expert. So I would love to run it. I would just want to be very careful to market myself with humility.
Do you have somebody else you could do it with?
I could probably bring on another editorial cartoonist or a journalist I'm aware of. Probably. I am a acquaintance of Charlotte Clymer, political commentator from Twitter. She's super busy, but I might be able to loop her in. She's got a significant following, so maybe that would help us with advertising.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to do this sooner than later? Just given the climate of the country and
Yeah, if we're saying March, March is not that far away.
well,
Right.
Nicole was talking about doing March.
Okay.
I was gonna ask,
Um,
I know personally, like I am crazy strapped right now, like more than usual, and I don't want to overcommit, but what would the soonest be, and then what would the next soonest be when this could happen?
I could do May or June, so I could drop to June if you wanted to do May. I don't know. Ruth had mentioned April, but she might be able to change if
Kind of like April because it's my birthday, so it's easy for me to focus and remember. But if the rest of you feel like this is something timely, which it sounds like it might be, I don't mind switching.
or Nicole, you probably can't do it, Alex, in March. Is that too early?
March would be a little early, but
Okay.
April or May would be wonderful if someone's willing. I don't want to kick anyone out of their desired spot.
But I think sooner than later, especially since we have the topic and it's been, it's already fleshed out. Ruth, what do you think? Can we have her do it in April?
Sure,
Okay.
I'm easy.
Right, I don't know why okay, I don't know why this does this. I don't know why it just, Alex, what can I call this? Political
Um,
cartooning?
yeah. Oh, and
Cartooning is not a word, is it?
And
Cartooning?
just to explain it another way, uh like my parents have suggested that I stop making fun of Trump for the next 4 years out of concern for my safety. And I understand where they're coming from, but how can I possibly like hold my head up in public if I claim to be so brave, so free speech, and I completely drop that out of, fear. At the
Yeah,
same time, I also don't want to be shot. So
right.
I don't think that's going to happen realistically, but I do know that, people are getting emboldened, et cetera. So I am eager. That's kind of the central dichotomy I'm especially interested in. And what I'd love personally to put at the center of that discussion is how do you balance security concerns with trying to do right by yourself and your audience as a journalist?
Okay.
I absolutely love that topic. It's funny, people have been suggesting that I drop my name
Oh,
and my pronouns from all of like my public platforms because, I'm non-binary. My identity literally just got erased and it's now being used as political cannon fodder. And I'm James and I look like this and I also live in a red state. I mean, I'll be moving to DC, which is, a little bit more accepting, city-wise, but I completely feel you. And those questions have been swirling in my mind and like, what do I post? What do I not post? What do I boost? What do I not boost?
right,
What stories do I select? Um,
right.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's definitely.
Totally. And James actually so Charlotte Clymer was a fellow at Georgetown in their political institute, and I was lucky to like go to multiple office hours and make friends slash
Mhm.
acquaintances. She is trans and has a lot of
Mhm.
thoughts on kind of issues of empathy and compassion specifically, and
Mhm.
that's why I'm especially excited about the work that she's done, is that's kind of central to my mission, is trying to figure out how to connect people or understand how people come to a certain belief, and I think a lot of this discussion is kind of that interpersonal emotional stuff. So I could pitch it that way. I know I've now pitched like two separate panels with
Right.
people who are kind
It's
of
okay.
aloof. So
I would
but
love
I'll
to
see what
meet
I can.
Bob. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll see what I can do. So yeah, James, I'm glad you like that idea. And I'm also curious about everybody's take on what's the best way to frame that discussion, because I kind of do want both a discussion, but also instructions from on high from an expert, you know? That might be trying to have it all, but it would be really nice to get some like advice from experienced people who might have gone through adversity on a platform that involves a lot of haters, you know? So I would be curious about everybody's take on the best way to approach that webinar.
Hmm.
What we usually do, and what I see most of my other groups doing with programs like this, is have the expert speak for up to half an hour. And then the rest of the session be a discussion that you might moderate so it stays on topic and doesn't get too far afield. But that usually seems to work as a structure. And it makes sense because you get the expert input on, you introduce the topic, here's what we're concerned about, here's what we're looking to solve. Then the expert gives some solutions, and then the group talks about what it means to them as individuals.
How about like navigating self-censorship or like navigating against self-censorship or something along those lines? I don't know.
Yeah, I love that framing. I think that really cuts to it. It's maybe self-censorship, yeah, self-censorship versus what would the opposite of security be? But if you can have it start with an S, that would be great. Like, and then we say, or a secret third thing, like self-censorship versus X, or an alternative question mark, something like that.
I can help you with that and help you research that, because fun fact about me, I was an intern with the National Free Speech Org, and
Oh.
so I researched free speech, free press, the constitutional principles behind the First Amendment, self-censorship, censorship, literally all of the things.
Right.
So that is definitely my wheelhouse.
So, okay, so I think we've got some time to work a little bit with that. If James and Alex, if you want to flesh that out a little bit and sort of make sure we have a good focus, that it's not going to be too big of a topic for an hour, but it's also not so narrow. I think your like political cartoons is, I also think that we can promote this where it's not just aimed only at freelancers, right? I've put it up here right now, political cartoons as a freelance journalist, but I think it would be good for freelancers to hear from political cards, right? Like if you hear from everybody. So I don't know if it's, especially if you're going to have that 30-minute talk at the end or in the second half. I think I might even take the word freelance out of it, but that's just what you can do it how you'd like to do it. I think we can include all journalists, just like the imposter syndrome is not obviously just for freelance journalists. You know, we can do things that aren't only for freelancers. So if we can leave that with you two for a little bit, and then maybe in March, we can talk that we're going to have a meeting in March 4th or so. We'll talk about that again, and then that should give us, we usually do these at the end of the month, James and Alex. It's usually the last week of the month that we do webinars. I don't know why, that's just been, it doesn't have to be, but that's been a kind of the rule of thumb. Ruth, do you want June or July?
June will be fine. Yeah, June would be good. June would be good unless you want it.
No, May's fine with me. I could do May or June. It doesn't matter to me. I can't, July and August I shouldn't do, but in September.
Yeah, I can do June. June should be fine.
Okay, perfect. And we can, you don't have to come up with a topic right now. So we won't do that today, but you can come up with your own or pick one of those that we have from this list down here. But yeah, I think I'd love to get these going. Because obviously we didn't do one in January. We don't have one in February. So, I'd love to get a few out there before the conference. So is everybody who knows they're going to the conference already? Do you know if you're going? Nicole's going.
Only if
Alex?
Most likely. It's in DC, right?
It's in DC. Yeah.
I'll most likely go, yes.
Have they
Okay.
put out Have they put out the call for proposals yet?
I haven't seen anything, so no.
Because I'll go if I get to speak, but I generally don't bother with events if I'm not speaking.
Yeah.
Although DC is appealing. Well, it isn't, it's Trump. I don't want to go to Washington when he's there.
Do any of us. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of get a feel for James, will you go?
Most likely, because I mean,
Okay.
I'll be in DC unless I have something
Yeah.
for school or work, you know.
Okay. And Sergi, are you going to, do you think you will, or you're not sure?
I'm not sure, 50%.
Okay, okay. All right.
I'd
I
love
just
to
want
see you guys. We'll see.
I mean, it's really just all about seeing each other. Come on.
Yeah, which is always a treat, but I don't know. I just,
I got it. I got it. Heaven and earth, so it's always a toss up every year. So
I know you got so many kids. Bring them all. Okay, and
I
then
do
just
when it's within driving distance, but you know.
love it. I'm not going to decide on the May topic yet either for the webinar that I put together and moderate. Nicole, what should we call this? If you want to put one together. Can you hear me?
I put it in the chat, but like something
Oh.
on like how to handle being doxxed, like what to do when your information is out there.
Okay, hold on. I totally missed this entire chat. It's hard to do the chat when I'm doing the. Sorry, I'm reading the chat. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna put that in. I'm just gonna put how to handle it yet, or for right now, we can come up with a title. Okay, so you'll moderate it then, Nicole? And then I'm just gonna put moderator, and then you'll find, so when you have, well, you're the publicity coordinator, so I guess you just need to give it to yourself, so it's all on you. Sorry. We can run, I can be your tech person that time. I'm fine to do that anytime. The summers are gonna be rough for me, but being a tech person for March or April is fine, so, for me. So I'm gonna just put myself in there. Stacy runs tech for that. Okay. All right, so let us know, and then we can start putting it out once you get speaker and get somebody scheduled. I can put it on the Zoom calendar if you want me to. Just let me know what dates you've got. Maybe give me one or two just so, or do you have access to the Zoom? You have access to the Zoom calendar. Yeah, so you could do it actually. I don't need to do that. So you can put it on there and then just let us know so we can get it to Mike and have him put it in the newsletter and get it on SPJ leads and all that stuff. And great, we're off and running. Feel good about this. Super excited about our social media project. I don't know what to call it. Project, that's not the right word. Okay. All right. Does anybody have any other business? Anything else? I'm going to quickly, if you guys can talk a little bit and talk about the any other business you want to discuss. I have not read any of the chat. I'm going to go back through and read it right now. So if you can talk amongst yourselves.
I think one thing we need to be careful of is making a distinction between some of the topics we've just discussed. Because the one that started with editorial cartoons sounds like it's gonna have some crossover with self-care. So we don't want to repeat some of the same information from one event to the other. And these are great topics, and I love it that you guys are up for doing all of this. Excuse me, but I think we do need to make sure that we keep the topics clear and then don't overlap from one webinar to one another month or two later. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I agree.
I had a glass of sangria with dinner, so I might not be completely competent.
No, it totally makes sense. I agree with that too. We want to keep it focused. I've actually just spent a couple of days teaching high school students about thesis statements and how do you narrow your topic. And I'm like, that's a great topic, but let's narrow it even more. So I'm kind of on that. I'm in that mode right now. So we want to make sure we could have two completely separate webinars and what we just talked about, right? So I think, yes, we want to keep it to, if we want to do one on political cartoons, we keep it focused on that. We can have lots of different topics sort of subjects around that relating to political cartoons. But I think that the censorship and self-care and how do we exist in this climate, which again is not just for freelance journalists, that's a great webinar, and that should have its own billing, I think. So just when you guys are thinking about that, Alex and James, when you're talking about that, maybe get that sort of focused in, and because if we've got two there, we might as well do two full ones. Rather than trying to put it all into too much. That's why I get a little bit nervous about the AI thing, because there's so much to talk about with AI. So I will have to focus that. I'm going to have to take my own advice and narrow that topic down if I do AI.
I'm thinking, Stacy, by the time you do that, there should be quite a lot of, I mean, there's already a ton of information. I think one way to focus the AI topic is, it's actually twofold. One is, how do we avoid using AI in our reporting activities and also in some of our artistic illustrative activities, photography, artwork, etc., cartoons. And then the other piece of it is, how do we craft a policy, if we think we should, for members of our community to adhere to as far as using AI. And a couple of the angles on it that I'm seeing currently are, almost every organization I'm familiar with is trying to come up with an AI policy that defines which programs count, because somebody raised the idea recently that even spell check could be considered AI. And I would guess that almost everybody here uses spell check, if nothing else. And the idea of just, how do we set a policy? Do we set one for the community? Do we look at what our clients expect or ask or tell us about what level of AI they find acceptable, if any? So those, I think, are the two sides of it that are worth considering.
Yeah. Yep. I talk to my high school kids all the time about this. Like Google's basically AI. If you put it into ChatGPT, don't put it into ChatGPT, then put it into Google. You'll get the same stuff. Yeah. It's not going to necessarily write it for you. You're going to get the same stuff. We've been using it forever. It's just, and now it's evolving, right? So, but how do you use it ethically? So, and it's a huge topic.
And maybe even some aspect of how the heck do you get rid of it if you don't want to use it. So for instance, the most recent example is this Copilot thing that Word added to its most recent version. And it took some incredible effort to get rid of that and not be forced to have everything you write go through Copilot when you don't want it to.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's a lot to keep up with. I got it off, but I had my Gmail. Have you seen what Gemini does on your Gmail? Like, it summarizes all my email conversations. It's like, oh, Stacy said this. Stacy asked the group to do this. I'm like, ew, stop. I do not want that there, I used it a day or two and I kind of liked it. And then I was like, wait, no. I don't know. It bothered me. I didn't like it. So we'll all have our lines we draw in the sand of what we want, how we want to use it. But I think giving just some guidance in general on ethically, and that might be something we get the ethics committee involved in too, because I'm not an expert on that by any stretch.
Well, it would be good to see if the SPJ ethics people are adding AI to their guidelines.
Do you know, Nicole?
Hazel probably does. Nicole, I'm looking forward to seeing you at the end of the month.
Stacy's gonna be there too.
I'm going too.
We'll have to have lunch or dinner while we're all there.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna write this down. Ethics committee. I'm just writing stuff down. Okay.
Oh,
All right.
Oh, really quickly, I just wanted to jump
Yeah.
in. Like, I 100% agree that we shouldn't over insert editorial cartooning into different events for confusion's sake. And also, I will say this, there are like 10 of them in the entire country. And, you know, it's interesting for other people to hear about, maybe. But as we're talking about best practices, which I would really hope this panel would do, that it would be about how to conduct yourself and think about your work on the day-to-day. Like, I don't want cartooning to be the primary like field that we're addressing. So
Oh,
maybe,
okay.
yeah, I mean, at least in my opinion. So I would think that in that event, we would want cartooning to be, you know, synonymous with or absorbed into like high pressure fields where high risk fields for upsetting Trump and upsetting Trump's allies. So,
Mm.
you know, cartooning does that. I can think of, you know, any kind of freelance investigator who's dealing a lot with the right. Like there's someone in the National Press Club Freelance Committee who's, you know, actively, you know, being hunted down by white supremacists, and she tells our, you know, group about it once a month. It's crazy. You know, people like that. I'm not even dealing with anything like what she's dealing with. So that was my thought. And Ruth, I 100% agree. And the Ann Telnay's proposal is totally separate from this one.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So I'm just I just changed it a little bit just so I kind of keep up with it, but I put freelance journalist, how to navigate high risk fields in the current climate. That can be changed however you want it, but then you would include, oh, I'm a political cartoonist and here's what I've had to deal with. James can
or-
talk about this is what I've had to deal with. So I think that would be good.
Totally.
Maybe
Opinions.
maybe
And,
say how to navigate visibility in these times.
yeah. James and I were just messaging, and we came up with like self-censorship, security, and sissydom. Standing up for your journalistic integrity in difficult times, or something like that.
I like that.
'Cause, you
Okay,
know,
right. You got that written down somewhere, right?
yes, I do. And
Good,
I
okay.
like that. I like that a lot because only on the third thing does it reveal that those are just fancy buzzwords for what is probably ultimately a lack of integrity. So
Nice. Okay. Good. I'm excited about this. Okay, so we'll be waiting with bated breath for Nicole to come back with her host and let us know when we'll be off and running with our webinars. And then Alex will take April. I'll get somebody going in May. Ruth has got June. That's good. We had a little bit of a slow start with January, just for various reasons. And Ruth, you weren't here, but I haven't yet heard back from Hillary about the elections, but I don't have everybody's title in or anything because I don't really know if people were written in and what happened and who's actually on the board. So as soon as I hear from Hillary, I will get that sorted out. If I hear from her in the next couple of days, I'm just going to email y'all. You don't have to wait till next month. I'll just let you know.
Okay.
also, this is
So
like the first time in a long time that I've set a boundary on working on a project. So like there's a little voice inside me that's screaming. It's like, how dare you make them wait? How dare you? And I'm having to tell it to calm down. You're already strapped. Don't do this. So thank you for your patience.
love it. I love it. Oh, it's awesome. I'm 49 and I don't know if I know how to set boundaries yet. Working on it. Okay, I think that's great. I'm going to stop recording, and I'm going to head out. I don't know if you want to stay talking. Well, you might have to, unless I make you a co-host, you can't keep talking. How do I stop recording? I can't get to the, oh, there it is.
I'm gonna call it a night, folks. Good to see
All
everybody. And
Yeah.
I will work on a topic for my webinar in June.
Okay.
And
All
again,
right.
as James just said, stay sane and stay safe.
Yep. Seriously.
Good night,
Bye.
everybody.
Good night.
See you later. And I'll send you an email with any updates we get for the election. All right, talk to you later.